In this video, we'll be comparing a scan tool to an app-based scan tool that works on iOS and Android phones. Stay tuned. Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. So my name is Random Fix and I test a lot of scan tools such as the one I have here in my hand. This is a scan tool that I'm actually doing a review on for X Tools, and it's an X Tool D8S. The box is right there. And for the last 2 weeks, I have been trying out these Bluetooth app-based devices like this. I had a unit from ThinkCar, BlueDriver, and a unit from TopDon. And if you don't know, these particular devices are pretty popular. This one right here has over 50,000 Amazon reviews alone. So that's a lot of reviews. I know it's a little bit of an older unit. However, times are changing and people want convenience and they want cheap price. So is your phone going to give you the same kind of experience that you can get from one of these with one of these instead? Well, I'm going to answer that for you guys in this video today. So let me back up a little bit. This really depends on who you are and what kind of car you have. So if you have a 1996 and newer vehicle, this can work on your vehicle. If you have a 1996 and newer vehicle, this can work on your vehicle. If you have an older vehicle, this is not going to do you any good. Whereas one of these with the right connectors can go ahead and communicate with the legacy ports of your vehicle. So if you have an older vehicle, this is going to be a no-go. However, if you have a newer vehicle that's 1996 and newer, and you got more than one vehicle, this might be a better choice for you. 1996 to 2023 is going to be a lot of coverage that this can go ahead and support. And if you are brand new to auto repair and you just want something that can pull up a code, this might do the trick. But one thing that I've realized with the newer cars is they have so many computers. The newer the car is, the more computers it has. And the more computers it has, the more complicated it becomes. And unlike old cars where you can just go grab a screwdriver and a wrench, these new cars cannot be diagnosed the same way as an old car. So you really need a device that can go and activate that particular function. So these devices can read codes, clear codes, and they can also send a command to the vehicle. So that is a great feature to have, as you can quickly figure out if it's the switch, the wiring harness, or it's the actual part. So if you guys want to learn a little bit more about that, I'll leave you guys links to the reviews for these products so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And let's go back to the question. Which one should you buy? Should you go with the simple, cheap solution? And in the beginning, it'll cost you very little. And over the long run, it might cost you a lot. So should you go with the cheaper option here? Or should you just pay a little bit more and get the real deal? And I'll give you guys a real world example of this. So I was recording a video, and out of the 3 devices, I chose my favorite device. And I did something on my vehicle. I relearned the throttle body, and it was time to go pick up the kids. So I got in the vehicle, I put it in reverse, and car made it up the driveway, and it wouldn't go anywhere. The throttle body and the pedal were not connected anymore. So when I would hit the gas, nothing would happen. The car's computer was not able to read the values from the accelerator as I was hitting the gas. So I was in a very bad position, as I only have one car, and I had to go pick up the kids. So long story short, I had to go fix this issue. If you guys are like me and you don't want that to happen to you, I would definitely recommend something like this. This is a lot less likely to give you issues like this. Whereas an app-based device is more likely to cause certain glitches like that. So if you guys don't want to take any chances, go with the real deal. If this is just a hobby and you're doing very, very basic stuff, you might be able to get away with this. And when I originally did the reviews here for the app-based devices, I thought they could really do about 90% of the functions of this. So let's talk about the functions. So these guys got hot functions. This one right here has more hot functions than the other 2 that I showed you earlier. This one right here doesn't support it, and this one has a total of 8. So this one has the most. Something like this has 28. So originally, I thought it could do about 90% of the functions. Now that I'm looking back at it, it can really do about 50% of the functions. And these functions are going to go more complex with a newer vehicle. This is good if you're not relying on it and you have another means in case you run into an issue. If you really want to make sure you troubleshoot and you're going to get better data and better results, this is the way to go. The other thing that this device really limits you compared to something like this is going to be graphing. Because you're using your phone, these devices really cannot graph. Out of the three, only one of them can graph. Whereas these devices can not only graph, they can oftentimes graph 4 or 8 items in the same graph. And depending on the scan tool you're using, you can mark the moment you have the error. So then you can easily troubleshoot the actual problem. So as far as increasing your chances of hitting the nail on the head, this is definitely going to do a better job. The other thing that you got to keep in mind with something like this is going to be a bigger platform. So obviously you have a much better screen here. Whereas when I'm working on my phone, if a phone call comes in when I'm doing something sensitive like I was earlier, there's a chance that that might cause some sort of issue. And I hope it doesn't happen to you guys, but I'm letting you guys know it happened to me today. It was actually a really scary situation as my neighbors were all at work too. So I couldn't knock on anybody's door, and there's no Uber or Lyft where I live. I live in the country, and the kids' school is pretty far, and it was very, very cold. And the other thing that I did want to mention about something like this is this will cost you a lot more upfront. So something like this, the auto fix can run you from $300 to $400. Something like this and better can cost you $800, $1,000, $2,000, but they're more likely to include many years of service. So this one right here comes with 3 years of service. Now, to the other three devices that I showed you, only one of them comes with lifetime updates, which is going to be the BlueDriver. But just realize that's a very fancy OBD2 reader. And what I mean by that is if you guys are brand new to car repair and you don't know what to buy, I would actually buy one of these if I was on a very, very limited budget. I wouldn't use one of these to buy a car because the new cars are so complicated that you can have an issue with the transmission that can prevent you from getting your registration or your tags for your vehicle. And one of these devices will not pick it up. I have a video, which I'll leave you guys a link to in the video description box down below, where I show that this does not pick up transmission problems on vehicles. And for generic, very basic cars, this will do the trick. If it's more modern and it has many more computers, this is something I would actually avoid unless I was using it to check data for smog. I'll leave you guys a link. The last thing that I want to leave you guys off with is my final thoughts on what these two products represent. Something like this is a money maker for the company. They give you a very basic Bluetooth device like this, and these have been around for a very long time, guys. You can get some Bluetooth devices that work with an app called Torque for $3 to $20. Yes, they're that cheap. You just got to go on Alibaba. Something like this is constantly getting updated. This is like watching a movie through a pinhole, and this is like sitting in a very comfortable seat in that same theater. Something like this is definitely a lot cheaper up front, but I think in the long run, if it's misdiagnosing some of your issues, it's going to cost you more money. There are a lot of people that just throw parts at cars, and if you want to avoid that route, I think this might be a better option for you guys. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. If you guys are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, as it really lets YouTube know that I'm bringing you guys valuable content. If I mentioned anything in the video, there's a pretty good chance that I have a video and a link in the video box down below. So just check those. I'll leave you guys a direct link to something like this. You guys can go take a look at it, and something like this. And you guys go check out my review video before you guys make a decision. Thanks again, and make it a great day.